So without further ado, I would like to move on to our second speaker for today, and that is architect Diniti Wijerathne. And before she comes to the podium or the stage, I would like to give you a glimpse of an introduction of who she really is and her roots of what she is today. Architect Diniti Wijerathne obtained her professional practice qualifications from the Sri Lanka Institute of Architects in the year 2011 and is a corporate member of the same. Further, received her MBA specializing in project management in 2016 from the University of Moratuwa, presently running her own architectural practice. Architect Diniti Wijerathne will be talking about client-centric architecture, which is a very important topic in the current context. And over to you, Architect Diniti Wijerathne.
Good evening to you all. I'm Diniti. As she mentioned, I'm going to talk about client-centric architecture. Yeah, it's true that we all have to think about, someone would say, yeah, that's what you are going to do, that's what you actually do. But when it comes to reality of it, yeah, thank you. So we try to give our best shot to understand the client and his needs. It is in order to minimize the conflict at the stages of throughout the project. Otherwise, it will be very unhealthy for the project. We shouldn't be carrying away with our dreams to create something for the client. We should try to get it out from the client actually what they want, what they dream of. It's not our dream that they will have to end up with. So that's why I mentioned it as client-centric architecture. Not to get carried away with our dreams, it should be client's dreams, and as an architect, we are just an accessory to fulfill that dream. So at our office, we call it dreams under construction. So I will walk through a few of the projects that we have done in past 10 to 12 years, because we are a young practice, and we do undertake all sorts of projects: leisure, personalized housing, corporate buildings, corporate interiors, factories, etc. So I would take you through this journey, how we have taken clients' dream and made it happen for them. First, I will show the leisure projects that we have done. This is Escoffier. It's a fine dining restaurant down in the river. And that was a very young client with a minimum budget, and we had to do we had to do a lot of innovation and to use a lot of materials which was available at that time. And it has indoor and outdoor, both outdoor dining. And you can see there's not much of luxurious furniture that we have put with those minimal furniture, but it had made it to look luxury. This is Fort Oriental Villa in Gold Fort. This is a 40 perch property, and there are 5 bedrooms, and this client is Singaporean, British origin Singaporean client, and this is what actually they wanted. There was a very mundane looking building there. With the help of the Gaul Fort Council, we were allowed to demolish what was there and to recreate the old glory. As you can see, we have used a lot of used material here. All these doors and columns are from discarded buildings. And if you can see this, the brick wall, that is actually the boundary wall, actual boundary wall, the original boundary wall of the property. We have kept it to see how it is being done. There is another wall which is done with corals as well as brick. So we have kept it as it is, as a part of the interior. We are not supposed to use a lot of concrete floors except for toilets and stuff in Golf Fort. So all floors are done with used wood. These are few shots of that. Most of the common spaces are naturally ventilated with 2 large courtyards. This is Fern Cove Villa in Nuvarelia, located in a field of vegetable crops. It has 3 bedrooms. This actually built as the holiday home for the client, and they had requirements to have outhouses, the entertainment area separately. That's why this building is in 3 different blocks. Ideally, we would have done it in one go. Like I said, that we need to live the dream with the client, of the client. So that's why we had to do certain modifications, the dream that we have for them. For an instant, these interiors are full white. As an architect, in a cold place, I would want it to be more cozier, but the client wanted it to be white. If I did what I really want, would he like it? Questionable. So we really have to think about what the client actually needs. This is a boutique hotel in Kalabovila. It's actually being done. The interiors are not completed yet. It is for a pharmaceutical company, and the client is a person who's really enjoy football, and this place has a lot of spaces to enjoy football games. That's why I said interiors are not done yet, and to entertain people. But at the same time, he didn't want it to look it like a clubhouse. He wanted to give that warm, welcoming, or the boutique look to that building. Villa Dankotua. This is a project that we are currently engaged in. It's an interesting building because if you know, Dankotua and Negombo area is very famous for their inspiration from Italian architecture. And this building is done with, it's not really Italian, but it has bits and pieces of everything. And when the client bought it, he wanted to do a real big transformation to it. And we had to tell him, we need to, if considering the budgets and considering what is available, because this is started during pandemic. And even though they wanted to do a really luxury villa, there's limitation for us for so many things. So we had to tell the client we shouldn't be like destroying it as like, take it out completely. So to do it like renovation and enhance as much as we could using the available things, available material, available labor. If you can see, this is the left-hand side is the right-hand side is what it was. The left-hand side is what we are actually doing now. It has really high-pitched roofs, and there are so many number of roofs that it made very the task was difficult to fulfill the client's need to have so many rooms, like about 10 rooms in this villa. These are some design features that we are experimenting with the existing fenestrations of the building. This is how it is now. Like I said, we do personalized houses as well. And talking of the client-centric architecture, more than the projects, the leisure projects that I explained, we engage even more when it comes to personalized houses. This is open house Belang Villa. It is actually a renovation, refurbishment and renovation to an existing single-story building. Which had 2 rooms only. Now it has 3 bedrooms and other living spaces. Though there is a lot of garden space, there are internal gardens also created to give ventilation and light. So not to use artificial lighting during daytimes or artificial ventilation aids during daytime. And the way the material is used, it actually creates really nice atmosphere during throughout the day with the sun's path. Cube in a cube. This is at Vattala. Why we call it a cube? This client has a very peculiar request that she didn't want any roofs to be shown or hidden roofs. It has to be flat roofs, and everything has to be cubes, or it has to be easily maintained. That was the first request when that was the very first request that she gave us. Like, don't have any roofs. So it ended up being a cube in another cube. If you see, even the interiors are very simple and very minimal. The infill Bambalapitiya. This is 7.5 perch tiny narrow plot which has two blind walls, and it was a task for us to get natural light as well as ventilation to this house. Hence the reason we had to create a long skylight to get sunlight throughout the day, and the ventilation is provided from the either sides, the front and the back. And if you can see these spaces, all these spaces are lit with the skylight that we have provided throughout the building. And the other thing that we need to remember is when we are creating skylights in this country, the sun can do a lot of damage as well. Like there's heat gain, there's so many other things, fading. So we used low E glass to cut down as much as possible heat and maximize the sunlight. Commercial and interior projects that we do. This is Kapruka head office. Again done it during the really hard times of the pandemic and the economic crisis. We had to minimize usage of material and maximize the space, and therefore we had to use a lot of exposed services because they didn't have that much of budgets to have them concealed, and so it is actually a open services, exposed services, the building with an exposed services. They have about 2 floors of storage and 2 floors of office, and their corporate office at the very top level. You know, Kapruka is very young and vibrant. Even the staff is like that. They actually really like the openness of these spaces. You would see the transformation from the office spaces, common office spaces, to the corporate, because they didn't want that sort of an approach, like where they have all services exposed and where they have lots of colors and a lot of novel things happen. They wanted something which is really serious, like to be the corporate office. So this is how these finishes have come up. In contrary to this. So in the same project, sometimes we have to think about different aspects of the client's need. Future Fiber Lanka Limited. This is a company who manufacture accessories for yachts. This is in Parkland building. Again, a very they had this concept of having it very open and very welcoming, because most of the staff here is young, and one thing that they requested was they have a lot of female staff. This is the first time I came across something like that. They have a lot of female staff, so they wanted a restroom specially for females. I would admire that request from the client. So we had to do a state-of-the-art restroom for females with recliners, because they work late hours. Since we didn't have the luxury of bringing the furniture down, we had to do all this furniture in-house. And this client has the facility to do carbon fiber and to incorporate it in furniture and to give really posh looks. So they actually went with our suggestions and provided the necessary material for it to be incorporated in their furniture. Regis WTC. This is a company which provides spaces for small startup companies and small companies to have their meetings and office spaces rented out, like that. So at a given time, many companies can work in this one space, and they have their own privacy, and all the facilities they needed to function independently. WebNet Private Limited. This is a software company, and this is actually housed in this 150 years old building, which former Casa Colombo, and they wanted to renovate it to become their office, where they have about 200 people working there. So what we did was, we didn't want to destroy the old look just to house a software company, because software and computer is the modern day thing, but the client didn't want that. They wanted to have this very luxury and very luxury look, sorry. And it's very cozy and comfy also for the people who are working there long days, long time. What in these interiors, what we try to do to enhance as much as possible the original architect and restore it with minimum damages to the building. So if you can see, most of the services we didn't want to embed it, so it is not damaging the old building. How cool is it to work it in an old building as software engineer? Dialogue knock. This is actually the requirement was is that they will be functioning 24/7. So it's actually non-shutdown building, and they wanted as much as possible healthy and friendly conditions for their work, their staff. Eden Fresh Pro Pack. This is a company who does value addition for fruits and vegetables, and they export them mainly to Maldivian resorts. This is in Birgama, and they wanted very special things in this this facility. So they didn't wanted any, though they are dealing with fruits and vegetables. Yeah, thank you. Fruits and vegetables, they didn't wanted any plants planted near to the building. So that's why it looks a little barren in contrast with the other projects that we did. That is to stop contamination of what they do. So their state-of-the-art facility will function without any issue. So these are the glimpses of the interior of it. Like I said, the client-centric architecture is that being able to deal with different levels, different facets of the client's dream, not just to infuse our dreams into their dreams. We need to get going their dream, not ours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Architect Diniti, for that lovely presentation. Now it's open for the forum to ask any questions or suggestions or any ideas. Okay, I have one question. Seems like I'm going to be asking all the questions. Okay, so you said it's very important to understand the client and what they really want and deliver, right? So my question is, so if you have a project and there is a client where he has his marvelous dreams and where it kind of goes in line with what you can deliver at the same time versus the budget, how do you cope up with, I mean, how do you balance these two when it comes to what the client really wants versus his budget?
It's like this. Now, I would say you can't eat the cake and have the cake. And you need to make up your mind what you actually want. And we would try out new things and we would explore new avenues to make it as much as closer to their dreams. But there will be, I would expect them also to have a little bit of compromisation as well. That's how we deal with it.